Welcome to Sister Scoop, where we are covering the top 3 Marvel news topics for this week. And we're just going to kick off with kind of what's going on with Moon Knight and what's next. Because I don't feel like it's been 3 years.
Oh my god, I hate that.
I
I
know.
didn't even put that together, but you're right. Yeah, it's been a long time. Headline, I'll give you guys the quick and dirty, is they've pretty much confirmed there's not going to be a season 2, but we are going to see the character basically show up in future properties. We don't have any more details than that. Look, I am kind of bummed that we're not going to get a season 2. Y'all know I was really excited for that show and it didn't kind of do it for me, which was disappointing. But I do think they set up some other storylines, so it is a little weird that we're not going to get a season 2. However, I'm glad that at least they're telling us that now, so it's not like we're stuck in this limbo of like, are we going to get a season 2? Aren't we going to get a season 2? Now we know the character's going to come back. It's just not going to be in that particular format and in that like solo property. I guess this is the best we can do for now. I guess we're going to be on Moon Knight watch in future projects. I don't know.
So I'm about to come out of the gate swinging, but I hate this.
Your face showed me that. Yes.
Yeah, I hate this because, first and foremost, 6 months ago, they were like, season 2 of Moon Knight, for sure. So, already annoying. Don't gaslight me. I don't need that. But also, I think what frustrates me is the bigger context of this discussion. And I don't remember, and you might remember more than me. I don't know if it was it was a higher up somewhere in Marvel, but I don't remember who what his actual title was saying this. And he was saying in general, they're trying to go to, reoccurring television essentially. So, bringing Daredevil Born Again, because it's about to start, is a great example because that's technically a season 4 to a show. And they already have the next season being filmed. By the time we're recording this, it's being filmed tomorrow or starting filming. So that's what they're talking about. Multiple seasons of shows, which fair. That is fair. I think there's been a lot of one-offs that have told their stories, and that's great, but I would like to see us come back to characters. I think it makes sense. That being said, I'm frustrated Moon Knight's not being considered for that roster exactly. I think as a show, I know you didn't end up loving it as much as you wanted to, but I really actually enjoyed it. And I think Moon Knight as a whole, with some of the CGI issues aside, a lot of people really did enjoy it. So I think, and they enjoyed that he was so secular. He wasn't really in the MCU like that. It was different, and you could do something so different outside without tying him to so many things. And I think that's the perfect kind of character to keep a show running for. That being said, it's really frustrating to me for that to be the direction. Plus, if you're going to tell me, oh, he's going to be used in future properties, right now I'm just assuming Secret Wars.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. I do think he would have been a good one to continue kind of on the small screen. But I think this choice, what it's telling me is they're trying to integrate him sooner rather than later. So instead of keeping him secular and having his own kind of franchise of multiple seasons of television, they're like, no, we want to integrate Oscar Isaac into the larger storyline much more than he was in his own show, obviously, but then do that at a more accelerated timeline. You're right. I think right now the prevailing theory across the fandom is Secret Wars. I think unfortunately that's just going to continue to be the catch-all for everything. But we've talked a lot about Midnight Suns and that potentially being a property that, while unconfirmed, they're putting the right puzzle pieces together to do that. And so if that's where he goes next, that's fine. Maybe that's where we're going to see that whole storyline with Jake kind of play out, because that's the medium that they've chosen to do that in, whether that's in a film or a TV show. Obviously, with it being unconfirmed, we don't know. But I just think that's kind of what it's indicating to me, is that the integration is happening maybe sooner than we kind of all anticipated, especially when they were saying, oh yeah, let's do a season 2.
No, that's fair. I do think you brought up kind of the ending, though, and they started it, or they ended it to start a season 2. So that's almost worse. I hate when they don't seemingly plan through some of this stuff, and then they're like, 3 years later, because you haven't seen this character in forever, actually we're not doing a season 2. I don't think it's fair to give him or make him explore that storyline in any type of team up film, regardless of what it is. I don't think that's fair. And I also don't think it's going to be fair to an audience to sit there and say, hey, we know we set this up with this character. We're not going to address it because we needed him in this team up. And then we'll do something later on. Either way, I just don't like the direction this goes. But regardless, I could go on this all day. We do have to keep moving. So this one I saw, this one, only one of them I was even aware was like low-key being made. This sounds horrible. But Nova, Strange Academy, and Terror Inc. are on hold. Quite frankly, I only knew Nova was happening. And maybe that's because it was happening at the end of this year, supposedly. Although now, don't hold our breath on that. But
well, okay, here's the thing, because I did the same thing. Wonder Man is coming out at the end of the year. Nova is a different show. I literally had to look it up because I have been confusing them too. And I was like, wait a minute. They canceled a show that they already like have footage for and like
then who's Nova?
It is I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
So we don't really care that these 3 properties are on hold.
I mean, like, look, like he's like a member of the Nova Corps. And that I think that there's, from my very limited understanding of the character, there are multiple, it's a mantle. There are multiple people who it could be.
Okay. But like, should I care that these 3 are on hold? I guess should be the question. Because I didn't even know, other than Nova, although I was thinking Wonder Man.
I was too, girl, same.
But I recognized Nova. Like, I knew that was a show being made. I just was confusing it with another one. I didn't know Strange Academy was being made. I like vaguely remember hearing about it, but I thought it was a rumor. And I don't even know what Terror Inc. is.
Yeah, so let me go down in order, like down the list in order. Nova, I think you should be disappointed because I do think that there are interesting stories to be told about the Nova Corps, and it's annoying that they introduced them in 2014, and then they were going to make a show where we would have explored that potentially more, and now we're not going to. And I do just want to say, this is not the studio saying no forever. It's just them saying, not right now. So I do want to point that out too. It's not that they're going to, none of them were ever totally moving forward, and none of them have been said, we're never going to do this. They were kind of in like a limbo state. So I just want to point that out and clarify. So that's Nova. Strange Academy, to your point, I thought was just like complete conjecture and rumors and just like never really put much like backing behind it. I was like, okay, cool. If this shows up, that's awesome. Like, whatever. If it doesn't, then like no harm, no foul. Terror Inc. I have literally never heard of before this article came out. And I was like, I didn't even know that was like an option on the table. Apparently it's like a whole separate character, I think. I don't know. I literally read one sentence about it and I was like, I never have heard of this before. So that's cool. Yeah. So, I mean, the only one that stood out to me was Nova. And like I said, my immediate thought was, oh my God, isn't this coming out in December? Same thing as you. And then I had to literally Google, wait, what is the slate? And it's actually Wonder Man coming out in December. Not
then
Nova.
I care even less that these 3 are on hold because that was the only one I cared about because I was like, weird. Like, we have footage. We have this. What do you mean it's on hold? Like, maybe the show's not done, but filming wise, like, it can't be that far from being wrapped up and stuff. So I was like, that's strange. But if it's not even that, I don't care. But it's just the news of knowing that these 3 shows have been put on hold.
Yeah, essentially. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Moving on to, I don't know, moving on to the last one. So this one's, I got mixed feelings about. Punisher is getting a special presentation. Now, I'm not angry because I think Marvel's done really great special presentations, but I'm confused. And I think maybe some of the confusion will hopefully be not there by the time we watch Daredevil Born Again. But I am a little thrown off because until we see him in Daredevil Born Again, he's not actually made his MCU debut.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think everybody really loves Jon Bernthal's Punisher. I think he's widely considered like one of the top tier casting decisions by Marvel. Yes. And he really plays the character extremely well. He also has a lot of love for the character, and I think that really comes through in his performance, the same way that Tom Hiddleston, Tom Holland, you can tell that they love their characters and they care. I think that's a lot of, what happened or what you can see with Jon Bernthal when he plays the character. So I'm not surprised that they're already choosing to move forward with him of everyone, going with Matt and then him as 1 and 2. I don't think that's surprising at all. I also think, if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like the Punisher show was it was like Daredevil, Punisher in terms of like how people would rank the Defenders universe. I think my personal would be like Luke Cage next, 1, 2, 3. But
I agree.
anyway, that's not important right now. That's not the crux of this conversation. What is I'm not surprised because of that they're going forward with him already without him even having made his MCU debut. I don't think that's surprising. I think what is interesting is the format that they're choosing to do it in. And I think that tells me it's actually going to be a prequel and we're going to fill in the blanks. In my personal opinion, we're going to fill in the blanks about where Frank has been because I don't think we're going to have the time to do it in Born Again. There's going to be a lot of story being told. There's going to be a lot of catching up we have to do with those primary characters. And I think, Frank's going to serve his purpose. It's going to reintroduce him in the MCU. He's going to further the narrative in whatever way they've chosen to do that. But I think that doing the special presentation might allow us to kind of fill in the gaps for him specifically so that when we see him again, we're like, oh, I know where he's been background. I've seen him now with Matt. I know he's in New York or whatever. And then however his story ends in this show, wherever he goes from here, I just don't see him I see this as a contained story. And to me, the most reasonable reason to make it a contained story is if you're going back a little bit and explaining, what had happened in the past.
Yeah, this is one of those where I'm also a little torn because I don't really like either option. I really am not a fan of doing the backtracking thing when we've already kind of it's one thing if this came out before Daredevil. Obviously, we know that's not happening. And then we have Daredevil and it's like, cool, I know where he came from. We went over this with the Black Widow movie. I love that movie, don't get me wrong, but I still don't love that it came out way later than it should have. Also for personal reasons, because come on, you couldn't give my girl her own solo film until she was dead. Like, whatever. Okay, that is never gonna go away. That is like Steve leaving Bucky, kind of like I can't. But
there were some errors made in that 2-year period.
I love the Russos, but what happened? Anyway, I think like that's annoying to me to begin with. But the other thing is, if it's not something like that, then I'm reading into they aren't signing to do another Punisher season.
Yeah.
And now personally, I've seen the first season. I haven't seen the second, but I'm not I will say it hasn't brought me in as much as I would actually personally do Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. Because I actually enjoyed Jessica Jones.
It is a good show.
Yeah.
It is a good show. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would actually personally do that. I just didn't find the Punisher one drawing me in as much, but I was also getting Defenders fatigue by then. So I can't really fully, maybe I'm wrong. But if it is after, I really don't see them pursuing going more into the Punisher storyline. So that's kind of the two ways. And then I'm also like, then why are we doing it? So I don't know. Either way, I'm like, this is going to be kind of strange.
Yeah, no, that actually just sparked something for me though. Because you were saying, you don't see them doing a Punisher series if they're doing the special presentation. That was my calculus as well, which is why I went go backwards, like something contained. But I wonder, and I feel like he is, but I haven't looked up the Midnight Suns in a hot minute. I'm pretty sure he's a Midnight Sun in one of their iterations. I wonder if it's kind of a bridge forward instead of a bridge backward of, okay, we see him, he leaves Daredevil, but now, we're going to get a bridge into why is he going to be in the Midnight Suns, or how does he link up with some of those people or whatever, what is that story there that's meant to be told, just so that we can let that character shine in something that is his own. He's not playing, second on the call sheet to Matt Murdock. He's getting his own thing for him to be reintroduced in the MCU context. And then we're also doing that double duty of, all right, now he's set up for that crossover, assuming that all goes to plan the way that we think it's going to, which again, not confirmed, but I just want to put that out there.
No, I'd fully assume it. That still to me doesn't change the fact that I don't think he wouldn't get more show of his own show afterwards. I think when you pull him into bigger things, it's going to just take away from ever trying to go back to making him solo. So
I agree.
That is going to set him up, which that's fine. I want to see Midnight Suns. I've been talking about that forever. I'm excited. If that is what that does, again, I still think it equals the fact that we're not probably going to see another Punisher season the way we're seeing Daredevil. I just think that's kind of where that goes.
Yeah.
But
There's one more thing I want to add really quick that was in this
Girl,
article.
we're running out of time. We're
I know,
overtime.
but I do think it's important though, because when they were talking about this announcement, one of the things that was kind of at the bottom of the article, if you didn't read all the way through in the exclusive, is that they also basically mentioned that the wider Defenders universe is fair game to reboot or soft reboot or whatever they're doing, like however you want to categorize what they're doing with Daredevil and Daredevil
so
Born
they're
Again.
gonna redo Iron Fist.
Yeah, they're gonna
Thank
redo
God.
everything. Yeah, so
But
well, not
specifically
reboot
Iron
necessarily,
Fist.
but like, you know what I'm saying. They're gonna continue those stories. Maybe not Iron Fist so much because that one was pretty universally disliked. But I could see them continuing Luke Cage, continuing Jessica Jones, you know, those types of stories, because now you've already got Daredevil moving on, you've got Punisher moving on, and I think people widely liked both of those properties as well. So I could see those. I mean, how they do the Iron Fist of it all, TBD. But in my opinion, season 2 is even worse than season 1. So if you don't like season 1, girl, you're in for it. Just have fun. Have fun.
Okay, well, on that note, we're so over time, and we apologize for that. We yap a little, but this has been this week's Sister Scoop. Some interesting news topics across the board, so we'll see where they all pan out, I guess, really. We are in our Daredevil era, guys. So predictions are coming by the time you're seeing this. I'm really bad at timing. So regardless, predictions are either out or coming. And then obviously the show is right around the corner and we're excited. So make sure you guys are ready to watch Daredevil Tuesday nights and listen to us on Saturday nights. And also keep up with Sister Scoop as we have more Marvel news topics next week. See ya.